If you pick the right city and if you pick the right niche, almost everything else becomes easier. It requires very little work. Getting the client is easier because you're going into an area that has hungry business owners. Okay. So getting the clients easier, ranking the websites easier because you're not going against as many competitors. Maintaining the client is easier because you're not having a bunch of people come into your area, right? All your leads become cheaper when you're running ads because there's not as much competition. Picking the right city and picking the right niche is so important. I cannot stress about it enough, and I talk about it so often. It is the most important step in the entire process is picking the right city, picking the right niche. And if you guys do this correctly, everything else is going to be easier. And if you don't do it correctly, guys, everything else is going to be harder. You're making it harder on yourself. And what I see, a big mistake I see with a lot of people that start doing this business model is they're so anxious to get going, which I love. I love the energy. Love the energy. But guys, take your time. Pick the city and pick the industry, pick the city and the niche that has enough volume and has relatively low competition. And there's not, you're not going to be, and there's also hungry business owners. You pick that and you figure out that formula, which by the way, is exactly what we cover. That's why we came out with the program and everything else. But if you're somebody that's like DIY, I'm going to go do it myself and figure it out, go do it. But when you figure out that formula, that is the most important part of the process. That right there will save you hours and hours and weeks and months and thousands of dollars if you pick the right city and the niche. And I cannot finish this episode without mentioning that because I mentioned it every episode. Picking that city and picking that niche is where all the money's made. Just like in regular real estate, they say the money is in the buy, not the sell. Meaning, if I go into a market and I buy a house that is 50,000, I buy it for 50,000 less than it's worth. I can turn around and sell that sucker at any time for what it's worth, and I'm probably going to make money. Most likely because I got equity instantly, right? Because I paid 50,000 less than it was worth. I made my money right there. Buying that property for that price, I made my money. On the flip side, if you rush in and you're like, I really want to get a property in Beverly Hills, I want to get a property here because I just like it and you're emotional about it. Guess what? The only way you're making money on that thing is if something happens, the whole house prices go up, you get a whatever, you do a bunch of stuff that makes it really attractive and you find the right buyer and this and that. It becomes very difficult to make money. But guess what? If I bought that thing for less than it's worth and I bought it in the right city and I bought it at the right price, well, I'm going to make money on that. It's almost guaranteed. The money is made in the buy, not the sell. Okay. So let's keep moving. Guys, if you pick the right city and you pick the right niche, once you are ranked, once your website is at the top of page 1 for all these different terms, let's say concrete, you're ranked, let's say concrete, and I always use Vegas, let's use Phoenix. Phoenix concrete. Let's say that when you type in concrete Phoenix, concrete contractors Phoenix, concrete patio Phoenix, concrete driveway Phoenix, there's about 7 main keywords. You type all those things in, you're showing up at the top page 1. Once you get to that page 1, once you do the work, you do the SEO, which by the way, I know a lot of people think that doing the SEO and getting the leads, getting the website to rank is the hardest part. It's the easiest part. It's the easiest part. I know hundreds of people that are getting leads, that have websites that are getting leads that are not making money. Okay. Getting the deal, getting the business owner to give you their credit card, that's the challenge. Okay. But let's assume that you do the SEO and you get ranked and you pick the city that's not that hard to rank in and you get that sucker ranked at the top. What you have to understand, guys, is that once you do that, it requires very little maintenance. Okay. Very little maintenance. I'm going to give you a couple examples. I have a website and you guys can go and do these searches real time, just like on your browser, whatever. If you type in anything with the word towing, tow truck, towing company, whatever, and St. George, ST George, you're going to see a website called Towing St. George. Or is it Towing St. George or St. George Towing? Let me check. Hold on. Let me type it in. I'm going to see where I'm actually ranked. This is how often I don't check on these. Okay. Yeah, towingstgeorge.com. You're going to see rank number 1, at least for the term towing St. George. Okay, go figure. Guys, I need you to know that with that website right there, I would have to ask Francesca because I wouldn't want to lie to you, but I would bet, I'm almost certain. Let me just put it that way. I'm almost certain that the last time we logged into that website was over 2 years ago. was over 2 years ago. We haven't put content on it. We haven't put a backlink on it. We haven't even logged in and put a picture on it. It is ranked and it's glued to the top because we did good due diligence. We figured out a good city. We figured out a good niche. We did our SEO and boom, it's stuck at the top. Google approves of us. Google likes us and we're pinned to the top. So I always look at it like this. It's with SEO, if you pick the right city and the right niche, once you get to the top, it's like cruise control. It's like climbing a mountain. If you guys have ever been on a hike and you're climbing a hill, or let's say a mountain, not a hill, you're climbing a mountain, and I'm talking about those hikes, those rigorous hikes. You got the rocks and you got the stuff floating, it's falling, and you're climbing, you're grabbing the tree, and it's a beast getting to the top. But once you get to the top, on most mountains, now I know that there's probably some that's not like this. Most mountains I've climbed, you get to the top, there's like a plateau, right? And you can kind of just like walk flat. You don't have to do much effort and you still stay at the top, even though you're walking across the ridge. That's kind of how SEO is. Once you get ranked, and if you've done it correctly and you've been going to the right city and the right niche, you're kind of just stuck there. Now, I'm not saying always. Of course, somebody could come in that's putting a lot of time and effort and energy and knock you off, potentially, but it's very unlikely because if you pick the right city and the right niche, you're probably not even going to get found out about. It's probably not even going to be on anyone's radar. Does that make sense, guys? I hope this is making sense. Okay. So that's towing. Let me give you another example. Type in Bentonville Concrete, Bentonville Concrete Contractors, Concrete Company Bentonville, whatever you want with Bentonville and concrete. You're going to see a website called bentonvilleconcrete.com. That project we have not logged into. We signed that deal in 2020. We have not logged into that website. I am certain of this one because I was the one that actually built that website. That's back when I was still building the websites. It's been over 3 years, guys, and that thing has been glued to the top of Google. That site has made us a lot of money, and that has been glued to the top of Google. Okay, so that's Bentonville Concrete. And then, yeah, we'll just give you those two examples. But guys, if you pick the right city, you pick the right niche, once you are ranked, it requires very little work, okay?